The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
It's the holiday season, and I think for the last couple years, we've sat down and had a chat around this time. Towards the end of the year, as everybody's got their decorations up, with the mayor of Evergreen Park, and Kelly Burke is down here with us at the 9-foot Homemade Oak Bar. How are you?
I'm great. Merry Christmas, Chris.
Merry Christmas to you as well. I'm still waiting for the big giant tree over 95th and Kedzie, and I've seen pictures of it now. People are putting it up on Facebook like, remember when.
I believe I clarified that for you at a previous.
I'm sure you did.
When they changed out the street lights on 95th Street, whenever that was, 15, 18 years ago, the new poles cannot support the weight of the tree.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
But
they don't make them like they used to.
But we did put, we kind of jazzed up the decorations in the center of town this year. So if you drive by at night and look through there, I think it looks really nice.
I saw that. It looked like you got new stuff in, and you got everything up real early too.
Yeah, and so we're hoping to do it over a couple years and build out further along 95th Street and then further down on Kedzie. So it's just very festive throughout the whole thing. But we started right in the center of town at 95th and Kedzie.
We are very fortunate to have you with us for this entire episode of the EP Podcast this week. This episode and every episode brought to you proudly by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Your child's bright financial future starts with learning good money habits early in life. Help them get ahead with a Junior Savers account from the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. With a Junior Savers account, kids earn interest on every dollar they deposit, so they can watch their money grow. Heck, they're probably getting some cash this holiday season, right? Then again, who gives a kid cash? I don't know, I wanted cash when I was a kid. Show your kids how fun and rewarding saving can be and set them up for success. To learn more, go to bankevergreenpark.com/junior or just go in and see those fine folks at 95th and Pulaski in that big iconic building there. There's no minimum deposit to open. I've got several of these in the household because I've got several kids. It's your community bank, member FDIC, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Is there a competition between the suburban villages? Because I see all these different villages doing things, like Blue Island's doing their Christmas thing at the same time as your Dickens Fest.
Right.
And I look at the promotion and I feel like it's like an arms race to have like the biggest thing happening this Saturday.
Well, I think they're both long-running events. That Blue Island Parade, they've had that for a long time, and it's a lot of fun. And then we've had our fest for a long time. So, it's very friendly competition.
Do you rub it in though every once in a while? Like if you get something big, do the mayors get together every once in a while, have a cocktail and talk?
I know Mayor Bellato pretty well, and I don't rub it in. I congratulate him on all his. I was actually just at a concert at that new Lyric Theater.
Yes,
in Blue Island,
beautiful place,
which was great.
Yeah,
which is great. So kudos to them, because it's good. Anything that happens in one of our communities is good for our whole area.
You've been really busy lately. I saw a picture of you on a camel.
I was on a camel.
And I saw you doing some sort of holiday pilgrimage with the first gentleman. Tell me about the camel first. You were in Morocco?
I went on a vacation with my sister and some longtime friends to Portugal and Morocco, and it was fantastic.
Why did you pick those two places?
Well, my sister does these yoga trips, retreats, whatever.
Oh, so you did some yoga.
Yeah. So I'd never gone on one. She has this group that she goes with, and they really run it very well. And she kind of put it together and invited me and a couple friends. And Morocco wasn't on my top 10 list, but it was phenomenal. It was beautiful. The people were so nice. The food was great. It was so historic. We learned a lot. It was absolutely wonderful. And then before that, you can't fly really directly to Morocco, so we had to change planes in Lisbon. So we spent a couple days in Portugal.
That is so fun. It's
great.
Cool. The camel, what was that like?
It was it was actually pretty low key. We had a
do they spit? Are they scary?
No, they didn't. They were big.
Yeah.
And so when you get on them, they're lying down, and the saddle's kind of a box that goes over the hump and with an iron or steel seat on it. So you do have to hold on when they stand up. But once they stand up, it was very it was a very gentle moving. We just were going up and down sand dunes.
I would find myself humming like Raiders of the Lost Ark or Lawrence of Arabia music as I was doing it, right?
Lawrence of Arabia movie. Yeah. But it was great. It was, I don't know that I need to do it again, but it was a really cool experience.
And then I saw you traveling. You went to go look around at some stuff. I saw your husband in the picture.
Yeah.
So like, is this like a holiday thing? You guys go out and try to do stuff where you explore? Do you have like a set thing that you do, or do you try to find new things during the season?
Yeah, a couple, I would say about 5 years ago, as my, you know how when your kids are little, you do a million things. You have no time. You got the concerts and going to see Santa and just all that goes in with kids. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. And then, my kids got older and we weren't doing that. And I sort of missed like the spirit of Christmas. So I just sort of started planning stuff to go to, and I just called it Christmas Quest, and I put it on.
It sounds like something.
I know.
It sounds like a game I would play at like one of those indoor water park hotels. Christmas Quest.
Christmas Quest. And so this is probably the 5th year I've done it, and I try to do 12 Christmas related things. Some of them are repeats. I actually just completed my list today. Some things are repeats, so I'm going to call them like Christmas Quest classics, and then some are, and then we try to do new things. So like we were in, we went to Grand Rapids last week, and we went to the Meyer Sculpture Gardens, which is phenomenal. It's this outdoor like combination botanical gardens sculpture. Is really cool, and it was all decorated for Christmas. And then there was a Chris Kindle market in downtown Grand Rapids that we went to. So that was our first Christmas Quest.
I'm a fan of Grand Rapids. I've only been there twice, but they seem like they have a ton of things to do in that town. They really are a busy town.
We tried to go to the Gerald Ford Presidential Museum too, but we ran out of time. So we'll have to we'll have to go back.
You'll get back there. Yeah. All right. So congrats on the opening of the new Subaru dealership, because I know that originally became a thing where we were talking about it here. And then we listened to the progress, and now you have your first Evergreen Park car dealership in here, and we've talked about the benefits of that. Is it everything you dreamed it would be?
It's wonderful. And it took it's a big project, and so it took a long time to have it constructed, but it's beautiful. It is full of cars. I think they're doing pretty well. It's an established family that has a couple other dealerships.
Is it fitting in the neighborhood well after it got constructed?
Yeah. I think it's fitting in great. So the grand opening, they've been open for probably about 6 weeks now.
Right.
But they're having a grand opening and ribbon cutting on Thursday the 7th. Open house, anybody's welcome, 4:30, and I think the ribbon cutting is going to be around 5.
Do you have big scissors for those? Is there
we
like
do.
Is there a storage closet for the big scissors?
We have a large gold scissors. Yeah.
I would imagine it's awkward the first time you do that. Now it's very easy to handle the big scissors.
Yeah, people get a kick out of it. You bring it out, it looks like you're Mayor McCheese or something with the big scissors.
So is there another big thing on the horizon? Are we focusing on small businesses right now? Like, what are we looking at?
Well, so we did, want to get everybody focused on our local small businesses for Small Business Saturday.
Yes.
And so, going into those mom and pop, whether it's the florist, place you get your hair cut, a place you go to eat.
The new Smoke and Vine, because that place is brand new, and they've been in business. They already had a business in Evergreen Park. They tried something new, and that's a new addition. We didn't have a wine bar.
Exactly, and it's. Every time I've gone in there, I've had a wonderful experience, and it seems like it's something that people are really loving. So continued good success to Smoke and Vine. But we were trying to make sure that everybody includes those as they're coming up with their Christmas entertainment and gift plans. But the thing that I am probably personally most excited about was the opening of the J. Crew factory store next to Whole Foods in the plaza.
Is this because you're a J. Crew fan?
I love J. Crew. Love it, love it, love it.
Is that why they're here? Shopping. Did you reach out and tell J. Crew I need one in my town?
No, well, no. They came through the owners of the plaza, through their connections with another mall that they have in the South. They had done a deal with J. Crew at their I think it was in Tennessee. And then, J. Crew said, well, you guys were great to work with. Do you have any other places? And they said, well, we do. We have this wonderful place, Evergreen Park, Illinois. It's right outside Chicago. So then they, we talked about it. I could not telegraph how excited I would be.
It's nice to have that rep, though. I mean, we've talked about this before, and whenever I meet new businesses, especially those that move in to that area on the east side of Evergreen Park, they talk about how Evergreen Park is a great test market.
Yeah.
It's a great market for just demographics, income, the cross section that you will get if you open up a business in Evergreen, and a lot of people move into that area over by the plaza because of that.
Yeah.
And so it is a place that's gotten a reputation that bigger businesses are like, if we're going to do something, we should try it out in EP.
Yeah, so it's been real successful, and we have stayed in communication with the folks. LBX is the name of the company that owns the plaza, and they have. It's got a really high vacancy rate. There are a couple vacancies. David's Bridal, as a chain, went bankrupt, so now that space in there is open, and the retailers that LBX is telling me that are interested, and they're sort of talking through the process. It's multiple ones, and all of them are names that we would be thrilled to have.
And on that side, I mean, it is. Here's the thing, and I always say it. First of all, Evergreen Park Police Department is incredible. Okay, I've dealt with them recently, and I think that they do a wonderful job. I also noticed that they're busy. On that end of the city, they're busy.
They are.
But it has to be a priority, I would imagine, because you have to make sure that everything is safe, happy, and people want to go over there. And it seems like they're working their butts off to keep it that way because there's so much commerce there.
Yeah, there is, and it's a challenge. Whenever you are bringing in lots of people, to an area, it's a challenge, and because there's so much retail, then you have things like
retail theft is up. It's
exactly.
a thing that everybody sees. You can't avoid seeing the stories about how now people have become so brazen that they just want to just walk in a group and take everything they can get their hands on, and so you have to work that.
Right. So it's organized. So they have a great rapport with the business owners, and right now during the holidays, the police department they call it walk and talk, but where they, who's ever on patrol in that sector, make sure that they get out of the cars and go and talk to all the businesses, and not just the businesses on Western, but the businesses all over town, so that there's a presence. But obviously we do have a heavy presence along Western because there's so much going on there.
Yes,
and we want to make sure people are safe, that they feel welcome, and that stores and employees know that we have their back, and we want to keep them safe as well.
I'll tell you this, I do feel comfortable going over there because I see arrests being made, and I see them being so active.
Yeah.
If it was something like you were hearing a story and then you didn't see that like good was winning in the end, you would be nervous. But instead, I feel very comfortable still heading over there, and you got an awful lot of great places over there. Let's shift gears, because I missed the announcement of it because you made it public, but I had heard for a while that it was going to happen, and I just never crossed paths with you to ask you on the show. So if anybody else has missed it, you are ending your tenure as a state representative, from what I understand.
Yep.
You're not going to run for re-election, and you will be a full-time mayor for Evergreen Park. Are you excited about that? I always felt like eventually this would be where you landed.
I am really excited about it. It was obviously a bit of a bittersweet decision to make. It's been a huge part of my life. It's been not anything I ever expected to do, but it's been absolutely wonderful. I mean, not only working on behalf of people, not just in Evergreen Park, but, throughout the 36th district, it's just been incredible. And the things I've been able to work on, and the friends I've made, being in Springfield for 12 years, and, hopefully, the people I've been able to help locally, it's been wonderful, but it's time.
Yeah. I always thought that was such an undertaking for you, and you did it so well. I mean,
thank you.
Well, you did.
What is it, Christmas? Come on.
Listen, you did, because here, honestly, you came in, you walked in with all these different things that you want to do. Like you walked in, you said, I want to pay attention to our parks, and I want to do upgrades, and you did them. You said you wanted to add to the communication. People who are living in the village and explaining things. And I saw that initiative just take place. The way that the village communicates is so much different than it was before you got in to the office. So I saw these initiatives that you talked about doing, and I saw you actually execute them while still representing downstate. So that's an undertaking. I couldn't do 2 jobs. Trust me. I have a hard time doing this. So I mean, but on the other hand, it always felt to me like I don't think any human being can do it forever like that.
Yeah.
And at some point you'd have to pick. And I would think being mayor of Evergreen Park is probably the more fun and enjoyable and the thing that like I'd want to aspire to end up at if I were you. Yeah.
Well, they're 2 totally. So first of all, thank you for saying that, and feel free to cut this part out of the.
Of course, no, I'm keeping it in.
But that's really nice of you to say, and I continued to have a passion for it after many years of being in it, and I never got tired of being. But just you get to a certain point, and you think let's sort of look at where we're at and figure out what to concentrate on. But they're 2 different roles. The role as in the legislature, you're talking big picture, you're talking ideas, you're talking concepts, and you're also talking things that are going to affect the whole state. And so it's just a different, and you as the legislature aren't responsible for the execution of any of these ideas, right? Whereas on the local government, the mayor side, it's all about execution. It's all about leading the ideas and then making sure they get done. And so, and to your point, a lot of these things that I came in with ideas, I've been enabled to do those through the support of our board of trustees, but also through the hard work of our village employees. I'm not going out and redoing the playground. You know what I mean? It's our public works department and making sure that it's all done well. I'm not the one going up and arresting shoplifters. It's our wonderful police department. So it is a total team effort, and I'm thrilled to be heading this team, and I look forward to doing it for many years to come.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Let's talk about some of your projects, okay? First thing that I have, and I think everybody in the village knows about because I'm reading it in your communications, waste management is going away.
Yes.
And you've gone with another vendor.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it because my garbage can kept getting left in front of my driveway? Because that annoyed me. So if these guys don't do that, it's already a win. Well,
so the village's contract with waste management was coming to an end. So we thought it would be a good opportunity. And the amount that waste management was proposing to extend the contract seemed a lot. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to put our garbage service out for bid.
I didn't even know there were other places because like waste management is everywhere.
Yeah.
So that was amazing to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ended up with, I believe it was 5 folks, including waste management, submitted proposals, and we vetted those and came to the decision to switch to Flood Brothers. Now they pick up for both Chicago Ridge, so a neighboring community, and then they also pick up for LaGrange.
So they're not new to this. They've dealt with villages, and you mentioned those 2 villages. They should be able to handle this size of a village.
Yeah,
yes.
and we vetted it with the public works folks and the mayors in those towns that they service, and they got fantastic marks. They're a family-owned company. We really felt that they would be responsive to customer service complaints.
I think that's the
issues.
most important thing. You pulled up. I took down a broken basketball hoop. And I went on the waste management website and it says they'll take them. And it's been sitting there for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I've gotten more help from the village trying to work it out for me that I haven't been able to get a hold of them over there. So I think responsiveness is so important. You tell me family business that's also worked in other places on the South Side. I'm like, all right, I'm willing to give this a shot. Are they going to change anything with me being able to kick my leaves out into the street?
They're not.
Okay.
So in terms of why we went with Flood, it was not only that we felt that they were going to provide great service, but their price was significantly below what Waste Management was proposing. And that obviously, when we can save money for our residents, that's a good thing as well. But so the leaves will continue. You're going to put them in your landscape container.
You put them in the container. I've said that out loud on the show so many times. But I watch my neighbors. I don't see anybody putting it in a container. Just
I put it in the container.
You're good at it. I told my son to put it in the container first because I'm trying to be a good citizen. But I don't see everybody doing it.
Well, and also, some people have more tolerance for a little mess,
right?
And so, but the people who don't, who want it all cleaned up, they can continue to put it in the bags, and that will all get picked up, with the waste, and then the village runs the.
Oh, you guys do the leaf.
We do the leaf vacuum, so that will remain.
All right.
So the change. Hopefully, the only change people. Hopefully, this will be seamless. I'm sure there's going to be some hiccups, especially.
Do they have to change out all the garbage cans?
They do not.
Okay.
They do not. So what will happen is if you look at your cans, some of them are stamped Village of Evergreen Park, some of them are stamped Waste Management. It's, kind of a hodgepodge that's accumulated.
I have a mixture.
So if you have a can that's got a Waste Management logo on it, Flood will be pasting over a Flood Brothers logo over the and that'll occur in the first couple of weeks.
All right.
But the only real change is that right now our garbage service is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The southeast section, which is my section, is Monday. That's the Monday is now going to get moved to Friday. So we'll have collection Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Everybody else will stay the same. It's just Southeast is going to go from Monday to Friday.
I like how you said that's my section. So if somebody complains, you're like, hey, I have to put up with it too.
If I can figure out to put my cans out on Thursday night instead of Sunday night, I think everybody will be. So again, there will be a couple weeks where, there's going to be some
It'll be a little
adjustments,
weird. Yeah.
But we'll get through it, and I think it's going to be great service for the residents and at a better price.
So I also heard of this project that I am intrigued by.
Yes.
In the area of 91st and Richmond, you have some sort of pumping station there.
A lift station.
Lift station. Okay, you'll need to explain to me what that is after I get the question out because I have no idea what that means. So the idea is that they're I thought it was new. You were telling me before we sat down that it's actually they're replacing one. But essentially, it's in a residential neighborhood, and it's this pump or whatever the station is, and it gets disguised essentially within something that looks like a home or a structure. And I found that to be so intriguing that there are these things that are hidden inside of what looks like houses. And how many of these are around Evergreen Park? And what does this thing do? Can you explain it to me?
Okay, so I'm going to ask forgiveness from anyone who's a civil engineer who is listening to this or some sort of sanitary engineer.
She's just a mayor, folks.
I'm just a humble mayor.
Yes.
But as I understand it, okay, so our sanitary sewer is gravity fed. It rolls to the lowest point, which on the east side of town is around this 91st and Richmond. Yeah. And then it has to get pumped out to go, to get rid of, and to end up at the MWRD. And so it goes down into this pump, it gets shot out. This pump has been there, or lift station, has been there for at least 50 years. And it was housed in a small it's underground.
I find this interesting because when I heard from one of the neighbors, that's how I learned about it, right? He was trying to tell me about this and he thought it was new. And when you were like, no, it's been here for 50 years, that shows how well you disguised it first time around.
Well, it was, the original one was toward the back of the lot.
Okay.
And then just because of, this was a huge project in a small area,
you have to work amongst people's homes. Yeah.
Right, where a crane was coming and putting this huge pump down into a 30-foot shaft. It was kind of wild to watch. But just the reconfiguration they had to do, I don't know if it was because, the pump changed a little bit in the 50 years since they made last one.
I'm sure they make the pumps differently
They
now.
had to move the structure that goes on top of the whole thing to the front, closer to the front of the lot. So it is more noticeable. But the project is about 98% done. There's
now
more
it's a little bit of landscaping and hiding it and stuff like that.
Exactly. So the fact that
I think that's neat that there's something that's you're going to try to hide it in the neighborhood. I think that's
neat. There's another one. The other lift station is at 94th and Hamlin.
Right now, somebody at 94th and Hamlin is like, what?
Right. And
Is that why we never see the neighbors down the block? Because there's nobody in there?
It's one of these things I think you walk past because it almost looks like a little garage with a driveway off 94th Street. And I had walked by it a million times and I always thought, I wonder what that is. And it turns out it's the lift station.
That is so interesting. Yeah. I think that's very, very cool.
It was actually like if you're a construction nerd, it was an interesting, it was a fascinating project to watch. It was very, very difficult for the people in that block because it was a lot of work going on in a really small area. And they were so patient they were really, really patient in some trying times. So I'm glad it's over and, we're hopefully don't have to do a project like that for another 50 or 60 years.
As we're spending the whole show with you, I've kind of cut other things that we would normally do on the EP podcast. I do want to still support the small businesses in Evergreen Park that support us. We mentioned them earlier on. Folks, if you're listening and you haven't made it over to Spoke and Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie, it is an experience, 21 and over, great food, amazing wines. They're constantly rotating new ones in from all around the world, and then you can pick up something nice for the holidays. If you try something and you like it, they have that bottle shop there you can purchase and take home. See more at spokenvinewines.com. And also a quick shout out to sidsauce.net, the only place I get my hot sauces from. Perfect stocking stuffers, and they deliver to your door for free. If you like hot sauces, if you know somebody who likes them, your only place to go is local where the peppers are grown in Evergreen Park and it's bottled right here, sidsauce.net. What was your most frustrating thing this year?
Yeah, I would say just in terms of inconvenience and just frustration. The redo of the tracks at 94th and Kedzie was probably right up there.
Yeah.
And
it's got to be frustrating that it's in your town, but you don't have any control over it.
You don't have any control over it. And, the railroad isn't there to make your life easy. We need the railroad. I don't want to, the railroad does a lot of good things. It keeps trucks off the road and has them on rails, but it's inconvenient for us because of the way they bisect our town. And then when they're shut down like that, the buses have to be rerouted and traffic's going all over. It was really frustrating.
Fire trucks trying to find alternate routes to move around.
And there's, a lack of communication sometimes because it's not a village project. It's the railroad project, and they're not always the best communicators about when things are happening and how long it's going to take. And there's still, debris it's in their right of way, but they still haven't picked it up. And we've been trying to get on them to, get it all cleaned up, old railroad ties and stuff like that, and repairing the parkway. It'll happen, but it just, you constantly have to stay on them and it gets frustrating.
It's got to be difficult. I can only compare it to something my dad used to complain about. He was a commander for his last 10 years in CPD. And he dealt with loop traffic. Mm-hmm. And he would say all the time that when IDOT did something downtown, they use the exact same method that they use when they're in Rantoul in downstate Illinois. And it's different when you're doing it in this massive area. But they just look at something on a map and say, okay, we got to do that. All right, do it the same way you always do it. And it doesn't work sometimes. And for that to be in the heart of Evergreen Park, it's a frustrating thing. But I always try to remind people would complain to me about it. And I'd be like, it's not the village.
Right.
It's the railroad.
Right.
And railroads have all these government protections. They can basically just look at you and be like, we're the railroad. Like if you're mean to our conductor, it's a federal crime. There's all kinds of railroads have these whole different set of rules I don't think people get. So I would imagine that was tough.
It was tough. And you know what? You bring up a good, people complain to me about the railroad and the post office. And you know what? My answer can't be, I don't run the railroad and I don't run the post office.
Because then it sounds like you're blowing it off.
Exactly. Right. Even though that's true. But you have to figure out a way to work and get the attention of and, get cooperation between these things that aren't my responsibility and I don't have any power over, but yet, affect our town so greatly. So, we have been able to get, some things done with the railroad, but it is just an uphill battle and it's frustrating because they don't always pay attention to us. But we're going to keep trying.
the weekend before the show happens. So I guess we're going back in time here, folks, because it's already occurred. But Dickens Fest. I mean,
yes.
you have to be excited about it.
Well, the weather, knock on wood,
looks like it's going to
be beautiful. So all the stuff that's outside, the Holly Jolly Trolley. There's some other ride that carries people around. I think it's a sleigh ride. There's like a little train that goes around the parking lot. There's different things happening in Circle Park itself. So all the stuff that we plan for that's outside, we're so thrilled that it's going to be warm weather.
Do you get involved in that stuff, like in the planning, or do your people come to you and say, guess what we're doing this year? And you're like, ooh, cool.
Well, yeah. So the rec department plans all the Christmas stuff, and they do a great job. They have, things that have worked in the past. They add a little something every year, try and find.
They added me inside. They put me inside so I'd be warm, inside, which is so nice of them. Like, right. I got the offer of, do you want to be in the atrium because you're always freezing every year? I was like, yes, thank you.
Perfect. So they add you, and it's like a little something old, something new. So we'll have Santa and all all those rides and everything. We'll have the magical singers. We'll be lighting the Christmas tree at 6:00. Yeah, I love this kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. Did you see what happened in the Rockefeller Center tree? Did you see what happened? It didn't light. No way. Bottom of the Rockefeller Center tree and like one strip up the side. And everybody just stood there and like the guy who hit they had Anthony Volpe, who is a shortstop for the Yankees, standing there, and like whoever the person is that does the announcement, and he reaches over, he hits the button, and then the look on their faces was just like, uh-oh. And like most of the tree was dark.
Oh, no. That would be a nightmare. Our park supervisor, I think that would probably be his biggest nightmare, that the light doesn't work.
We've talked to him about it before. Yeah, I know that makes him bad. I saw him testing the lights just the other day when I drove by. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to work, okay? But if it, right now, you can outdo Rockefeller Center this year by having it all lit. So
well, we'll see. And then we have the Sounds of the Season concert coming up.
Yes,
which is,
over at Redeemer
Rich
Church.
Daniels, and it is phenomenal. Do yourself a favor, everyone. Go. I've got 2 extra tickets if anybody can't get them. But it's just beautiful. The music is fantastic. It's a lot of great, you see everybody from the community and, exchange Christmas greetings and goodwill, and it's just wonderful.
Mayor Kelly Burke, nice enough to stop in here. I really appreciate it. I have fun when we have these conversations, and I know you've had a busy year, and but now, I mean, like we're looking at when does the state representative thing end? Like
January 2025.
You still got another year?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's rough. That's like being a high school senior and knowing you're leaving, but you can't leave just yet.
Yep.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, Chris.
It's the EP Podcast, all things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast, Evergreen Park.